The night broke into terror the moment the gourd exhaled sound. Darkness seemed to speak, a crowded hum pressing against thought itself. Zenabu felt her name shrink inside her chest, as if the world had chosen her for judgment. "These cannot be meant for us," she thought, clinging to the memory of daylight and ordinary laughter. Ifunanya's voice trembled beside her, a prayer shaped like a question. "Who have we offended?" she whispered, each word dissolving into the noise. The hum thickened, not louder, but closer, intimate, as though it recognized secrets. Zenabu remembered every careless promise, every silent envy, every moment she pretended innocence was protection. Fear stopped being an emotion and became a verdict. The air carried accusation, old and patient. Ifonanya pleaded with her mother's name, then with God's, then with anything listening. Zenabu argued inside her head, listing reasons, counting kindnesses, insisting on fairness. The darkness answered without language, reminding her that fairness was not guaranteed. Time lost its edges. Thoughts circled, collided, unraveled. Zenabu imagined the village waking to stories they would never hear, explanations no one would accept. Ifunanya wept that the night had turned against them. Zenabu wanted to promise safety, but promises felt dangerous now. When the sound finally thinned into silence, it felt deliberate, like a pause before judgment. The quiet carried weight, heavier than the noise. Zenabu understood then that whatever had been summoned was not finished speaking. This was only an introduction, a warning carved into memory. The night had listened, and it would remember them long after this moment faded. In that stillness, Zenabu sensed consequences approaching slowly, patiently, carrying names, debts, and truths the darkness would demand. Whether whispered, confessed, or dragged from silence at dawn, nothing in her prayers asked for escape anymore. Only understanding remained. The silence of the bush was thick, pressing down on Zenabu's chest as though the night itself was watching her breathe. She sat slumped against the mud wall of the abandoned farm hut, her wrapper damp with sweat and fear. Beside her, Halima trembled uncontrollably, her swollen eyes barely able to open. "Mama," the girl whispered weakly, "are we still alive?" Zenabu swallowed hard before answering. "Yes, my child," she said, though her voice shook. Inside her heart, doubt screamed louder than certainty. The darkness felt unnatural, as if it had followed them, waiting patiently. Halima's tears returned silent and helpless. Zenabu pulled her close, rocking slightly, murmuring prayers she had not spoken in years. She begged for morning, for light, for forgiveness she did not fully understand yet. Back in the village, Baba Sadiq had not slept. He sat on his wooden stool beneath the mango tree, his walking stick across his knees. The oil lamp beside him flickered, casting restless shadows on the ground. Safiya sat nearby, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. "Baba," she whispered, "I keep hearing their screams in my head." Baba Sadiq stared into the night. He had no words. He had felt the terror when Zenabu and Halima ran out of the compound, screaming as if death chased them. A father's heart knew when something was wrong, yet all he could do was wait and pray. At dawn, the forest breathed again. An old farmer named Mala Musa walked toward his yam bridges with his two sons. As they approached the small resting hut on his farm, a faint sound reached his ears, almost like a whimper. He stopped. "Who is there?" he called out cautiously. There was no reply. He stepped closer and peered inside. What he saw made his heart clench. Two women lay on the dusty floor, their bodies covered in angry welts. One stirred faintly. Zainabu's eyes fluttered open. Recognition softened her fear. "Malamusa," she whispered, "please help us." The old man wasted no time. He dropped his tools, fetched water, and called his sons. "Prepare the cart," he ordered. "These ones have seen something beyond ordinary trouble." He shook his head slowly. "God has spared you." The cart rolled into the village shortly after sunrise. Murmurs rose as people gathered, gasping at the sight. Safiya rushed forward, her face crumpling. "Mama Zainabu," she cried, helping them down. Baba Sadiq's knees nearly failed him. Inside the compound, herbs were mixed, wounds cleaned, prayers whispered. The village healer worked quietly, applying bitter-smelling paste to Zainabu and Halima's skin. For 3 days, Safiya cared for them without complaint, feeding them, bathing them, speaking softly. On the 4th evening, Baba Sadiq called Zainabu aside. "Tell me the truth," he said gently. "What happened that night?" Zainabu lowered her eyes. "It was misfortune," she said. "Bees entered my hut." Baba Sadiq studied her face. He knew she was lying, but he let it pass. Some truths demanded patience. That night, Zainabu dreamed. She stood in a vast, empty land where the sky had no color. The ground beneath her feet felt cold, lifeless. Ahead stood a woman, motionless. Zainabu approached slowly. "Who are you?" she asked. The woman turned. Zainabu screamed. It was Mariam, Safiya's mother, dead these many years. Her face was calm, her eyes deep with sorrow. She said nothing, only stared. Zainabu woke with a cry, her body soaked in sweat. The next night, the dream returned. This time, Mariam stood beside a river, washing blood-stained cloth. "Leave me alone," Zainabu shouted. Mariam finally spoke, her voice steady and cold. "You know why I am here?" Zainabu woke shaking. The third dream came a week later. Mariam stood before her holding a cane. "Confess," she said. Pain burned through Zainabu's body. She screamed herself awake, clutching her back. Halima gasped in horror at the marks on her mother's skin. "Mama," she cried, "this is not a dream." Zainabu shook her head violently. "Say nothing," she warned, fear breaking her voice. But the dreams were no longer content with sleep. 3 days later, Zainabu heard a whisper behind her in broad daylight. She turned and saw Mariam standing beneath the mango tree, holding the cane. Zainabu ran screaming into the compound. She fell at Baba Sadiq's feet. "Tell her to stop," she cried. "I will confess." The village gathered, and Zainabu's sins came pouring out like poison long hidden. The compound fell into a stunned silence after Zainabu's scream. Villagers who had gathered at the gate stood frozen, unsure whether to step forward or flee. Baba Sadiq stared down at the woman kneeling before him, his heart pounding violently against his ribs. "Confess to what?" he asked slowly. Though dread already coiled in his stomach, Zainabu lifted her face, tears streaking her dust-covered cheeks. Her eyes darted wildly around the compound as though she still saw something no one else could. "She will not stop," she sobbed. "Not until I speak the truth." Safiya's hands trembled at her sides. "Mama Zainabu," she said softly, "there is no one here. Zainabu shook her head violently. "She is here," she cried, standing there with the cane. Baba Sadiq turned instinctively, scanning the space beneath the mango tree. There was nothing, only leaves swaying gently in the breeze. He turned back, his voice low and steady. "Mariama's been dead for years." At the sound of the name, Zainabu collapsed forward, wailing. "I killed her!" she screamed. "I killed Mariama!" Gasped, tore through the crowd. Safiya staggered backward as though struck. Her knees buckled, and she sank onto the ground, shaking her head in denial. "No," she whispered, "that is a lie." Zainabu's shoulders shook violently as words poured out. "I was jealous," she cried. "Your mother had his heart. Everyone could see it. I burned with anger every time he smiled at her." Baba Sadiq's breath came in ragged pulls. "Explain yourself," he demanded. Zainabu wiped her face with trembling hands. "I went to my mother's village," she confessed. "I met a woman feared by all, a witch. I told her I wanted Mariam gone. She gave me a charm and told me what to do under the moon." Safiya covered her mouth, sobbing uncontrollably. Zainabu continued, her voice breaking. "That same night, Mariam screamed in her sleep and never woke again." The compound erupted in murmurs of shock and anger. "Wicked woman," someone shouted. "She killed an innocent soul." Baba Sadiq staggered back, clutching his chest. "So my wife," he whispered, tears spilling freely all this time. "And it did not end there," Zainabu added hoarsely. "When you fell ill years later, that too was my doing. I wanted you to depend on me alone." Safiya cried out in anguish, collapsing fully to the ground. By the time Zainabu finished speaking, half the village had gathered. Rage spread like wildfire. Young men clenched their fists, shouting for justice. "Take her to the king." They demand that Han seize Zainabu's arms. She did not resist. "Please," Halima cried, clinging to her mother. "Do not hurt her." But the crowd surged forward, dragging Zainabu toward the palace. Baba Sadiq remained seated, numb and hollow. At the palace courtyard, King Suel stood tall, his face grave. "Is it true?" he asked. Zainabu fell to her knees. "It is true, my king." The king struck his staff against the ground. "By the laws of our land, you are banished forever." As guards pulled her away, Halima broke free and ran to her mother. "Mama!" she cried. Zainabu held her tightly. "Be better than me," she whispered. As the sun dipped low, Zainabu disappeared down the forest path, leaving grief and silence behind. That night, Safiya wept until her voice failed. But dawn would bring a harder choice, whether hatred or forgiveness would rule what remained of their family. The night after Zainabu's banishment arrived heavy and unkind. Silence sat inside Baba Sadiq's compound like an unwelcome guest, refusing to leave. No one spoke. No one ate. Even the insects seemed to avoid the place, as though sorrow itself had poisoned the air. Safiya remained seated near the doorway, her eyes swollen and empty. Every sound startled her. Every shadow reminded her of the truth she had heard. Her mother was gone, taken by envy and wickedness, and the woman who raised her had been the hand that destroyed her peace. Halima cried herself to sleep on a mat nearby, calling her mother's name until exhaustion finally claimed her. Baba Sadiq sat beneath the Udala tree, unmoving, his thoughts spiraling endlessly. He replayed every memory, every moment he had dismissed as harmless jealousy, every silence he had ignored. Before dawn, Safiya rose quietly. She stood alone in the compound, staring at the path where Zainabu had disappeared. Her chest tightened painfully. Despite everything, a part of her still ached for the woman who had once braided her hair and shared meals with her. Guilt mixed with grief, leaving her breathless. When morning came, the village of Agade woke slowly. News of the confession had spread, but no one celebrated. Even those who had shouted loudest for punishment now spoke in hushed tone. The elders gathered at Baba Sadiq's compound, their faces lined with concern. Elder Musa broke the silence. "This house has suffered greatly," he said gently, "but hatred will only deepen the wound." Baba Sadiq nodded weakly. "I failed them both," he whispered. "I failed Mariam. I failed Safiya. I failed Zainabu too." Safiya looked up sharply. "Papa," she said, her voice trembling, "please do not blame yourself alone." Tears welled in his eyes as he turned to her. "Your mother was my peace," he said softly, "and I did not protect her." Safiya swallowed hard. "Mama would not want this house filled with bitterness," she replied. "She believed in forgiveness." The elders exchanged glances, quietly impressed by her strength. Later that day, Baba Sadiq led his daughters to Mariam's grave. The earth was still neat, shaded by tall trees. They knelt together, the weight of truth pressing heavily upon them. "My wife," Baba Sadiq said, his voice breaking, "the truth has come out. Justice has spoken. Please forgive us." Safiya pressed her hands together. "Mama," she whispered, "I promise to live in peace. I will not allow hatred to rule my heart." Halima sobbed quietly beside her. As they hosea, a soft breeze swept through the trees, rustling the leaves gently. Safiya closed her eyes, feeling warmth brush her face. For the first time since the confession, her chest eased slightly. Days passed. Slowly, the compound began to breathe again. Baba Sadiq returned to his farm. Safiya took charge of the household, caring for Halima with patience and kindness, despite the pain lingering between them. One evening, Halima approached Safiya hesitantly. "Sister," she whispered, "do you hate me?" Safiya pulled her into an embrace. "No," she said firmly, "you are not your mother's sin." Halima wept against her shoulder. That night, Safiya slept peacefully for the first time in weeks, and in her dreams, her mother smiled. Free, at last, the Harmattan wind arrived quietly, dusting Agade village in a pale haze, as though the earth itself was trying to cover old wounds. For Safiya, the season felt like a mirror of her heart, dry, fragile, yet waiting for rain. Each morning, she swept the compound slowly, listening to the scrape of the broom against the ground, a sound that reminded her how easily peace could be disturbed. Baba Sadiq watched her often from a distance. His daughter had grown thinner, quieter, but there was a new steadiness in her movements. Loss had carved something deep into her, yet it had not broken her. Instead, it shaped her into something firm, like clay hardened by fire. Halima followed Safiya everywhere. She spoke little now, her laughter buried beneath guilt she did not deserve. At night, she still woke crying, whispering her mother's name into the darkness. Safiya would hold her close, rocking her gently, murmuring words of comfort even when her own heart ached. One evening, as the sun sank low and painted the sky the color of ripe palm fruit, Baba Sadiq called his daughters to sit with him. His voice was heavy but calm. "This house must not become a shrine of sorrow," he said. "We must choose how we live after pain, Safiya Nadad." "We move forward," she replied softly. "Not because we forget, but because we must." The next morning, Safiya returned to the forest path, same one her stepmother once forced her to walk daily in search of firewood. The trees stood tall and silent, witnesses to her childhood tears. Yet this Chimi she felt no fear, only resolve. As she gathered fallen branches, memories rose uninvited. Harsh words, long days, hunger and loneliness. But alongside them came another memory, the mysterious old woman she once met by the stream, who had spoken kindness into her wounded soul. Safiya paused, closing her eyes, offering a silent prayer of gratitude. Back in the village, whispers followed her steps. Some pitied her. Others admired her restraint. "That girl has a strong spirit," the women murmured. She could have turned bitter. One afternoon, Halima approached her. "Sister," she said, twisting her fingers, "will the villagers always look at me like this?" Safiya knelt beside her. "Time changes many things," she said gently, "but we must also show them who we are." Days turned into weeks. Safiya began helping widows in the village, sharing food, offering labor, listening to their stories. Slowly, suspicion softened. Kindness spoke louder than blood. Baba Sadiq's health improved as peace returned to his household. He smiled more often now, especially when he saw his daughters working side by side. "Your mother would be proud," he told Safiya one night. Those words settled deep in her chest. When the first rain finally fell, drumming against rooftops and soaking the thirsty earth, Safiya stood outside and lifted her face to the sky. Tears mixed with rain as she whispered, "I am still standing." And somewhere between the falling drops and the breathing soil, healing quietly began. The rains continued for many days, washing the dust from Agade village and softening the earth beneath bare feet. With each downpour, Safiya felt something loosen inside her, as though grief itself was being diluted drop by drop. Yet healing was never straightforward. Peace often arrived carrying questions. Safiya now rose before dawn, her mind already awake. She spent long moments thinking about the future, wondering what shape her life would take now that her past had been laid bare. She had grown used to endurance, but endurance alone could not be a destination. Baba Sadiq noticed the change. One morning, as they shared a quiet meal, he spoke gently. "My daughter," he said, "you have carried more than your share of sorrow. What do you want for yourself?" The question startled Safiya. She had never been asked that before. She stared at her hands for a long time before answering. "I want peace," she said finally, "and purpose." Baba Sadiq nodded slowly. "Then you must allow yourself to live, not just survive." Halima listened closely from the corner of the room. Later that day, she followed Safiya to the stream, her thoughts heavy. "Sister," she said timidly, "do you think my life will always be punished because of my mother?" Safiya stopped walking. She turned and held Halima Fasi gently. "No," she said firmly, "your life is your own and you will choose goodness." Halima nodded, tears brimming. "I want to be like you." Those words stayed with Safiya long after. As the village adjusted to its new normal, a quiet opportunity emerged. The women elders approached Safiya one afternoon, their expressions thoughtful. "You have wisdom beyond your years," One of them said, "We want you to help teach the younger girls." Safiya hesitated. "Me?" she asked softly. "Yes," another elder replied. "You understand hardship, yet you did not allow it to poison you." That night, Safiya lay awake, wrestling with doubt. Could she guide others when she was still learning herself? In her uncertainty, she whispered a prayer, asking for clarity. Her answer came in a dream. She stood at the same forest stream from years past. The old woman she once met there appeared again, her face calm and knowing. "You have already begun," the woman said, "by choosing compassion." Safiya woke with a steady heart. She accepted the elder's request. Soon, young girls gathered beneath the shade of the Iroko tree, listening as Safiya spoke about patience, self-worth, and courage. She did not preach. She shared stories, lessons shaped by lived truth. The girls listened closely, their eyes bright. Word of her guidance spread beyond Agade. Visitors began arriving, seeking counsel for daughters weighed down by fear or anger. Safiya listened to them all, never judging, never boasting. Meanwhile, Halima blossomed quietly. Freed from constant guilt, she laughed again, helped Safiya teach, and showed a gentle nature that softened many hardened hearts. The village began to see her not as Zainabu's daughter, but as herself. One evening, Baba Sadiq watched his daughters from a distance, pride warming his chest. He realized then that loss had not destroyed his family. It had transformed it. Yet far away beyond the forest paths, Zainabu walked alone, her mind tormented by memories and regret. Each night, she thought of Safiya and Halima, wondering if forgiveness was ever possible. Fate, however, was not finished weaving their stories together. For while Safiya's path was opening toward light, a shadow from the past was slowly finding its way back, carrying unanswered questions and a test that would demand more than strength. It would demand mercy. And mercy, Safiya was about to learn, is the hardest choice of all. The news arrived quietly, carried not by shouting but by uneasy murmurs that drifted through Agade like smoke. Safiya first sensed it in the way conversation stopped when she approached, in the glances exchanged between elders, in the heaviness that returned to her chest without warning. Something buried had begun to stir again. That evening, one of the village women finally spoke. "Safiya," she said carefully, "there are travelers from the western path. They say a woman has been seen near the old forest boundary, sick, alone." Safiya felt her breath catch. She did not need to ask the name. Her heart already knew. Halima noticed the change in her sister's face. "What is it?" she asked anxiously. Safiya hesitated, then answered honestly. "It may be your mother." Halima's eyes widened in fear and longing, emotions colliding painfully. "Is she alive?" she whispered. "Yes," Safiya replied, "but life is not the same as peace." That night, Safiya could not sleep. Memories of Zainabu's confession returned uninvited, sharp and cruel. The pain she had caused, the life she had destroyed. Safiya clenched her fists beneath her mat, torn between justice and compassion. Before dawn, Baba Sadiq called the household together. His face looked older, wearier. "The elders have decided," he said. "Zainabu is forbidden to return to the village. But she is weak. If she dies outside our land, her spirit may not rest." Silence followed his words. Safiya finally spoke. "What do they expect of us?" They expect nothing, Baba Sadiq replied softly, but they are watching what choice you will make. Safiya understood this was not about Zainabu alone. It was about who she herself had become. Halima fell to her knees. Please, she begged, tears streaming freely. She is my mother. Whatever she has done, I cannot let her die alone. Safiya looked down at her, her chest aching. In Halima she saw innocence burdened by inherited sin, just as she herself had once been burdened by cruelty she did not deserve. Later that day, Safiya walked alone to the edge of the forest. She stood there for a long time, listening to the wind move through the trees. Her mind returned to the lesson she taught the girls beneath the Iroko tree, about mercy, about choosing goodness even when it costs. She whispered into the quiet, "Mama, what would you do?" No voice answered, but her heart felt strangely steady. When she returned to the village, her decision was clear. "I will go," Safiya said to the elders. "I will see her." A ripple of shock passed through them. "You owe her nothing," one elder warned. "I know," Safiya replied calmly, "but I owe myself the truth of who I am." Halima insisted on coming. Baba Sadiq watched them leave with silent tears in his eyes, unsure whether he was witnessing courage or reopening an old wound. They found Zainabu near the dry stream bed, her body thin, her eyes sunken, her once proud posture bent by regret. When she looked up and saw Safiya, she broke down completely. "You should not be here. Zainabu Sab, I deserve whatever end finds me." Safiya studied her quietly. Gone was the woman of sharp words and quiet cruelty. What remained was a human being stripped bare by consequence. "I did not come for you alone," Safiya said gently. "I came for myself." Halima knelt beside her mother, holding her trembling hands. "Mama," she cried, "come home." Zainabu shook her head. "There is no home for me." Safiya took a slow breath. "You will not return as a wife. You will not return with honor. But you will not die abandoned." Zainabu stared at her in disbelief. "Why?" she whispered. Safiya's voice wavered for the first time. "Because if I let hatred decide my actions, then you still control my life." Tears streamed down Zainabu's face. "I am sorry," she said brokenly. "I was blind. I was wicked." Safiya nodded. "I know." They brought her food. They cleaned her wounds. They did not erase the past, but they refused to let it define the future. When Safiya and Halima returned to Agade alone that evening, the village watched in silence. The elders exchanged long looks. A choice had been made. That night, Safiya dreamed again. Her mother stood beneath the Iroko tree, smiling softly. This time, she spoke. "You are free." Safiya woke with tears on her face, but her heart felt light. She did not know what the coming days would bring. Forgiveness was not an ending, it was a beginning, fragile and demanding. But she had chosen mercy, and mercy, once chosen, begins to change everything. The next morning, the village of Agade stirred with a mix of curiosity and unease. Word had spread of Safiya and Halima's journey to find Zainabu, and whispers floated along the narrow dirt paths like leaves caught in the wind. Some villagers shook their heads in disapproval, muttering about mercy and justice, while others murmured in quiet admiration at the courage it must have taken to face a woman who had once wrought so much pain. Safiya rose early, as she always did, her mind heavy with questions. She could not stop thinking about the thin line between punishment and forgiveness. Was she right to show kindness to someone who had caused so much suffering? The moral dilemma gnawed at her heart, but she knew that the path of anger would only prolong the darkness. "Safiya, are you awake?" Halima's voice was soft, almost hesitant. "I am," Safiya replied, adjusting her wrapper. "We must prepare. Today, we will bring her food and water. She cannot survive alone in the forest, even if the villagers say she deserves to." Halima nodded, but the anxiety in her eyes remained. "Do you think the elders will approve?" "They will not," Safiya said firmly. "But approval is not the reason we act. The reason is our conscience and what we know to be right." By mid-morning, the two girls had gathered a small bundle of food, roasted maize, and fresh water from the village well. The forest awaited them, dark and thick, the canopy of leaves filtering sunlight and patchy. The air was rich with the scent of earth and growing things, but there was an undercurrent of something older, something that seemed to hum with memory. When they reached the stream, where Zainabu had been resting, she was nowhere in sight. Panic clawed at Halima, but Safiya held her hand firmly. "Do not fear, she has not gone far." They called out her name softly. Mama Zainabu, we have come to help." A rustle of leaves answered them, and Zainabu emerged slowly from the shadows. Her eyes were hollow, her frame fragile. The woman's hair hung in tangled strands, and her wrapper was worn and faded. She looked older than her years, as if the forest itself had aged her. "You came back," Zainabu whispered, voice cracking. "Why?" "Because you are still human," Safiya said gently. "Because mercy is not weakness. We cannot undo what has been done, but we can ensure you do not perish in loneliness." Zainabu's lips trembled. "I do not deserve it," she admitted, tears flowing freely. "I have caused too much pain. Halima's suffering, your father's heartbreak, all the villagers. Deserving has nothing to do with survival," Safiya said, kneeling beside her. "We all carry burdens, some heavier than others, but life asks that we choose what we will do with the moments given to us. You will not die alone today." Halima knelt next to her mother, pressing her small hands into Zainabu's palms. "Mama," she whispered, "we are here. You are not alone." For a long time, Zainabu said nothing, tears streaming down her face. Then slowly, almost imperceptibly, she reached for Halima, clutching her daughter as if afraid she might vanish. "Do not cling to guilt alone," Safiya said softly. "You can acknowledge the past without letting it destroy the present." Zainabu closed their eyes, letting the words sink in. A strange mixture of relief and sorrow settled over her. For the first time in many years, she felt a glimmer of something she had almost forgotten: hope. As they walked back toward the village, Safiya led them carefully along hidden paths, ensuring Zainabu would not be seen until the elders were ready. The sun climbed higher, casting long shadows that stretched like fingers through the forest. With each step, Zainabu seemed to grow more grounded in the world of the living, less haunted by her own deeds. When they emerged from the trees, the villagers paused. The sight of Zainabu, frail but alive, brought an audible gasp. Murmurs erupted. Some villagers looked on with suspicion, others with astonishment. Baba Sadiq stepped forward, his expression grave. "Safiya, you have done what few could," he said, "but now comes the greater test. How will the village receive her?" Safiya met his eyes, steady and unwavering. We will not decide her fate. That will be for her own actions from this day forward. But we will not let vengeance consume us." An elder shook his head slowly. "It is a difficult path you choose. Many will not understand." "Let them not," Safiya said. "Our hearts understand. That is enough." Zainabu walked tentatively behind Safiya and Halima, still uncertain, still carrying the weight of her past. But with each step, she allowed herself to feel the warmth of the sun, the gentle touch of wind, and the cautious hope that life had not entirely abandoned her. That evening, Safiya sat with Halima under the Iroko tree. The shadows stretched long, and the cicada's song filled the air. "You were right," Halima said quietly. "Doing this, facing her, it feels heavier than I imagined, but lighter at the same time." "Yes," Safiya replied. "Mercy carries weight, but it also carries freedom. Today, we chose freedom over hatred. Tomorrow, we will see how it continues to shape us." And as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with streaks of crimson and gold, Safiya allowed herself a quiet smile. The forest had returned a measure of peace, but the village would learn that forgiveness was a living thing, demanding courage every day it survived. Night fell over Agade with a solemn hush, the kind that makes even the cicadas pause their rhythmic song. Shadows stretched across the village, long fingers brushing against mud huts and woven fences. Safiya could feel the tension in the air, thick and electric, as if the village itself held its breath in anticipation of the events about to unfold. Inside her small hut, she prepared a simple meal: roasted yams, palm soup, and a few dried figs, carefully placing each item into a woven basket. Halima watched, her young eyes wide with both curiosity and concern. "Safiya," she said softly, "are you sure this is safe? What if the villagers see Mama Safiya paused, wiping her hands on her wrapper. "It is more than safe, Halima. It is necessary. Tonight, we must show them that redemption is possible even for those who have caused pain. This is the moment to act with courage, even when our hearts tremble." The night deepened, and the sky was sprinkled with stars that seemed to shimmer in silent encouragement. Safiya lifted the basket and gestured to Halima. "Come, we go together." They moved swiftly, carefully, stepping over roots and loose stones, their shadows flickering like spirits against the moonlit ground. When they reached the clearing where Zainabu had been resting, she was waiting, sitting on a fallen log, head bowed, hands folded in her lap. The faint glow of moonlight revealed the weariness etched into her face, yet there was a quiet determination in her eyes that had not been there before. "You have come," Zainabu whispered, voice hoarse. "I did not know if you would." Safiya knelt before her, lifting her chin gently. "We always come, Mama Tonight, you will walk into the village not as a shadow of your past, but as a living proof that mercy can endure even the deepest wounds." Halima handed her mother a bundle of food, her small fingers trembling slightly. Zainabu accepted it, her lips quivering as she spoke. "I do not deserve this, not after all I have done." "Deserving is not the measure here," Safiya said firmly, standing tall. "This is about life, survival, and the courage to choose a path beyond vengeance. You will have the chance to make amends not with words alone, but with deeds." Zainabu rose slowly, steadied by Safiya's hand on her elbow. Together, the three of them began the walk back toward the village. The villagers had gathered near the communal fire, murmurs and whispers rising like smoke. When Zanabu appeared at the edge of the clearing, some took a step back, fear and disbelief written plainly on their faces. A man stepped forward, Baba Musa, known for his stern judgment. "What is this?" he demanded, voice trembling with both anger and incredulity. "You dare bring her here? After all the suffering she has caused?" Safiya's voice rang out clear and unwavering. "She is alive, Baba Musa. She has suffered, yes, but she comes seeking a chance to live again, to take responsibility for her past. Will we greet her with hatred or with the wisdom to guide her toward redemption?" A tense silence followed. Some villagers shook their heads, murmuring about justice, revenge, and the pain she had inflicted. Others, particularly the women and the young mothers, stepped forward, their faces softening as they glimpsed Zainabu's fragile form. Zainabu's voice broke the silence. I do not seek forgiveness lightly. I have done wrong, and I will carry it with me as long as I live. But I wish to change. I wish to help. If there is a place for me in this village, I will work to deserve it every day." Her words hung in the air like a delicate tapestry, catching on the hearts of those who listened. Halima stepped forward, clutching her mother's hand, and spoke with a courage that belied her youth. "Mama has returned to us. She is my mother, and she is still our family. Let us not judge her by fear alone." The elders conferred quietly, their faces somber. Finally, Elder Hakim, the oldest among them, raised his hand for silence. "We will not forget the past," he said, voice deep and resonant, "but we also must not allow it to define the future. Zanabu, you will live under the watch of the village. You will work for your redemption, and in time, your deeds will speak louder than your mistakes." Zanabu bowed her head, a tear slipping down her cheek. Relief mingled with the heavy weight of responsibility she now bore. Safiya and Halima flanked her, silent guardians of a fragile peace that had only just begun to form. Night passed slowly, each sound amplified in the cool evening. The crackle of fire, the whisper of wind through leaves, the distant call of an owl. In the small hours before dawn, Zainabu knelt beside Safiya, her hands trembling as she touched the earth. "I will honor this chance," she whispered. "I will honor you both." Safiya placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "The choice is yours. Every day is a test, but you do not walk alone. Halima and I will walk with you, and the village will watch, not to condemn, but to guide. That is mercy. That is redemption." When the first rays of sunlight pierced the horizon, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose, the village began its day. Children ran past, women carried baskets of yams and palm oil, and the elders gathered in quiet conversation. Zanabu, Safiya, and Halima moved among them, tentative yet determined. Every smile, every nod, every word of cautious encouragement strengthened the Zanabu's resolve. And as she stood in the village square, looking at the faces that once glared with suspicion, now softening in understanding, she realized something profound. Forgiveness was not a gift given lightly, it was earned in courage, perseverance, and the willingness to face one's own failings head-on. The sun had barely risen over Agade when tension began to ripple through the village like a disturbed river. News traveled fast. Zanabu's reintegration was underway, and while some welcomed it with quiet hope, others seethed with Safiya and Halima moved carefully through the compound, sensing the undercurrent of judgment that seemed to follow every step Zainabu took. That morning, Safiya was called to the village council by Elder Hakim. The path to the council's gathering place was narrow, flanked by tall palm trees whose leaves whispered secrets of the past. As she walked, she rehearsed the words she would speak, knowing that the delicate balance of peace rested heavily on her shoulders. Inside the council hut, the elders sat in solemn arrangement, faces etched with worry lines and age-old wisdom. Baba Musa was there, arms crossed tightly over his chest, eyes narrowing with suspicion. Others whispered among themselves, clearly divided between anger and hope. Safiya cleared her throat. "Honored elders," she began, her voice steady despite the fluttering of her heart. "I come to speak not only for myself, but for Zen. We seek guidance, and in that guidance, understanding. There is fear, yes, but also opportunity to turn pain into learning, mistakes into lessons, and hatred into a chance for unity." Baba Musa stood abruptly, his voice harsh. "Safiya, you speak of lessons and unity, but what of the lives Zainabu has affected? What of the pain she caused your family and this village? How can you ask us to welcome her back?" Safiya's gaze met his, unwavering. "Because Baba Musa, the choice before us is not between forgetting and forgiving. It is between clinging to anger, which will poison us all, or extending a hand, even when it trembles, to show that growth is possible. If we judge her only by past sins, we miss the chance to shape a future where wisdom and compassion prevail." A murmur went through the council members. Elder Hakim, quiet until now, finally spoke. "Safiya is correct, but it is not an easy path. Redemption cannot be granted lightly. It must be proven through action, through labor, and through visible change. Zainabu, will you commit yourself to this path?" Zainabu's voice, quiet but firm, filled the hut. "I will, Elder Hakim. Every day, every task, every choice I make will honor the trust you place in me. I cannot undo the past, but I can shape my present, and in doing so, perhaps help mend what I have broken." The council deliberated for hours, debating not just the morality of her return, but the social and spiritual implications. Some feared her presence would disrupt the fragile peace, while others argued that true leadership in the village required mercy alongside justice. Outside the hut, the villagers watched silently. Children clung to mothers, elders whispered warnings, and a few brave souls offered subtle nods of encouragement. Safiya and Halima remained close to Zainabu, their presence a reminder that she was not alone, and that redemption, though hard one, was possible. By mid-afternoon, the council reached a decision. Zainabu would remain in the village, but under strict conditions. She would perform daily tasks for the community, helping in the fields, assisting the elders, teaching the children, and providing guidance to anyone in need. Her progress would be observed closely, and any failure to honor this path would result in immediate removal from the village. Zainabu accepted these terms with humility. She bowed deeply to the elders, her hands trembling slightly. "I understand," she said, "and I thank you for this chance. I will not waste it." Even with the council's decision, the moral dilemma was far from resolved. Some villagers continued to whisper behind closed doors, questioning whether she could truly change. Others openly mocked the arrangement, predicting inevitable failure. Safiya recognized that the true challenge was not simply in Zanabu's actions, but in the hearts of those who still held on to bitterness. Over the following days, Zanabu began her work. She helped repair fences, carried water from the well, and assisted in planting yams and cassis. Every movement was deliberate, every word carefully chosen, knowing that her every action was being watched. Halima stayed close, a small, steady anchor in the storm of scrutiny. One afternoon, as Zanabu was gathering firewood for the communal hearth, a group of young women approached her. Their expressions were skeptical, but their curiosity was unmistakable. Zainabu, one began cautiously. "Do you truly intend to change? Can someone like you truly become part of our village again?" Zainabu paused, the bundle of wood heavy in her arms. She looked at each of them in turn, her eyes steady and clear. "I cannot erase the past," she admitted, "but I can choose my actions today and tomorrow and the next day. Change is not a gift given. It is a commitment made each moment. If you watch me, you will see whether I am worthy of your trust." The women remained silent, some unconvinced, others quietly impressed by the honesty and courage in her words. Safiya, standing nearby, felt a small surge of hope. Perhaps the first seeds of acceptance had begun to take root, even if the soil was rocky and uncertain. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, Zainabu returned to her hut, exhausted but resolute. Halima prepared a simple meal, and for the first time in weeks, Zainabu allowed herself a small smile. The road to redemption was long, fraught with skepticism and the lingering shadows of past sins. But she had taken her first steps. That night, as the village settled into uneasy sleep, Zainabu knelt outside her hut, looking at the stars. "I will do this," she whispered to the sky, voice filled with quiet determination. "I will prove that even those who have stumbled can rise again. I will honor this chance for myself, for Halima, and for all those who still believe in the power of change." In the distance, Safiya watched her, heart swelling with pride and hope. The challenge ahead was immense, but the first victories were often quiet, unseen, and small. Tonight had marked one such victory, the beginning of a transformation that would ripple through the village, testing hearts, challenging minds, and ultimately redefining what it meant to forgive. Once upon a time, in the heart of Agade village, the wind carried whispers of change and stories of redemption. The villagers had grown accustomed to the daily rhythm of life, the laughter of children, the songs of women at the well, the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze. But there was something different now. A quiet tension, a sense that history itself was being rewritten. Zainabu rose early, the golden light of dawn spilling across her small hut. Today was no ordinary day. It marked the completion of her first month in the village under the watchful eyes of the council. She stepped outside, inhaling the fresh air, feeling the weight of past mistakes pressed lightly upon her shoulders. Yet a new strength coursing through her veins. Safiya met her at the edge of the path, carrying a basket of yams and herbs. "Good morning," she said softly, her eyes reflecting a warmth Zainabu had longed for. "The council is pleased with your progress, and the elders wish to see you this afternoon." Zainabu nodded, her mind already racing with preparations. She had learned patience, humility, and diligence in the past weeks. Every task, no matter how small, had been a test of her character, and She had met each one with careful thought and sincere effort. By mid-morning, Zainabu was working alongside Halima in the fields. The earth was rich and dark, fertile with the sweat of generations. She dug carefully, planting seeds in neat rows, mindful that each small act of labor represented a step toward redemption. Villagers passed by, some offering tentative smiles, others mere nods of acknowledgement. Slowly, the distance between suspicion and acceptance began to narrow. As the sun climbed higher, Elder Hakim approached, leaning on his staff, eyes sharp yet kind. "Zainabu," he said, "today you will address the village. Speak from your heart. But remember, words must be matched by deeds." Zainabu's heart raced, but she straightened her back and inhaled deeply. When she arrived at the village square, a crowd had already gathered, faces turned toward her, a mixture of curiosity, doubt, and cautious hope. The chatter hushed as she stepped forward. "People of Agade," she began, voice trembling slightly, "I stand before you not as one who asks for forgiveness lightly, but as one who seeks to prove that change is possible. I have caused harm, yes, and I have felt the weight of your judgment, but I have labored, learned, and reflected. My actions from this day forward will show that I am committed to rebuilding trust, to serving this village, and to honoring the lives I once disrupted." A murmur ran through the crowd. Baba Musa crossed his arms, skeptical yet listening. Others exchanged glances, some nodding quietly. The honesty in Zainabu's words was undeniable, her sincerity shining through every pause and inflection. She continued, "I will teach the children the ways of our ancestors, help the elders with their work, and ensure that no one feels abandoned or overlooked. My past will not define me. My present and future will." By mid-afternoon, she had completed a demonstration of her work ethic, helping a sick elder fetch wood, repairing a broken fence, and guiding the village children through the proper planting of kasa. Each act was met with quiet approval, and slowly the initial tension began to dissolve. Evening fell, painting the sky in shades of orange and crimson. Zainabu knelt at the edge of the village pond, offering a silent prayer. "May my actions honor those I have wronged. May I continue to grow in strength, wisdom, and compassion. And may this village, my home, forgive the missteps of my past." From behind a nearby tree, Safiya observed, tears glistening in her eyes. She had witnessed the transformation firsthand, the quiet courage, the unwavering dedication, and the gradual mending of fractured hearts. As night descended, the village lit lamps and fires, and the sounds of life continued, infused now with a sense of renewal. Families gathered, children played, and elders smiled as they watched Zainabu walk among them. No longer an outsider, but a part of the community she had once endangered. Under the moonlight, Zainabu returned to her hut, tired but content. Halima sat beside her, their hands entwined. "You have done well today," Halima whispered. "The village is beginning to trust you again." Zainabu nodded, her eyes reflecting both exhaustion and hope. "It is only the beginning," she said softly. "But for the first time, I feel that I am truly on the right path. I will continue every day to prove that even those who have stumbled can rise, stronger and wiser than before." The wind rustled the palm leaves, a gentle sigh that seemed to carry the blessings of the ancestors. Within the village, peace had begun to settle. tentative yet real. Zainabu's journey of redemption was far from over, but each day brought her closer to earning the trust and acceptance she longed for. And so, in the heart of Agade village, life continued, hearts mended slowly, spirits lifted cautiously, and hope flourished where once despair had held sway. Once upon a time, a girl cast out and misunderstood had begun a journey that would leave an indelible mark on the lives of all around her, teaching them that courage, humility, and perseverance could heal even the deepest wounds. In the heart of a quiet village, a young girl's life was shadowed by the cruelty of her wicked stepmother. Every day, she was sent into the dense, mysterious forest to gather firewood, her small hands aching and her spirit weighed down with fear and loneliness. The forest, with its towering trees and whispering winds, seemed endless and alive, hiding both danger and secrets within its depths. Each step she took was filled with uncertainty, yet she pressed on, driven by resilience she didn't yet fully understand. Little did she know, the forest held not only peril but a chance for unexpected friendship and extraordinary encounters. Her journey of struggle, courage, and discovery would soon reveal lessons about bravery, hope, and the power of unexpected kindness. As the sunlight danced through the leaves and the shadows shifted mysteriously, the girl's path intertwined with someone or something that would change her life forever. This story is a celebration of perseverance, the strength of the human spirit, and the magical encounters that can transform a life in ways we never imagined. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget, stay tuned for more enchanting Africantales that will inspire courage, spark hope, and remind us of life's most powerful lessons.